Man, I love these. Which, by the way, that reminds me. Oh man, I just forgot about something so important here, guys. I forgot to explain something so important about the Greek word for elpo. Okay, here it is. So, besides the things that I just told you about the suspension of reality, right? Elpo. Elpo also means to welcome, to anticipate, a welcoming, right? Like an expectation. Isn't that a wonderful notion? Like, that in itself is how you should approach hope. It's an expectation. It's an expectation of suspending the reality and welcoming things that are edifying, welcoming the righteousness, welcoming things that go beyond our preconditions. And so that's what elpo actually means in Greek. Hope, elpo, welcome, anticipate, expect. It's an assurance. You expect it, right? But a humble expectation, by the way, right? Not this arrogant expectation. Because again, the Latin word for hope is espere, which is to wait. So you can't have this attitude of like you demanding it. No. See, it's the other way. Hope is waiting and demanding you to step forward and be in its presence. Which is why I asked the question at the beginning of this live, not what hope means to you, but what actually hope. You can't demand hope to come to you. You have to go to it. Isn't that interesting? Yeah, I thought so too. Sound check real quick, guys. Can you hear my music? Can you hear my voice? Everything good? Nice balance? Yes? Everything all right? Sweet. Hello. Welcome to the J. Roland Speaks podcast. Bienvenidos a ti. Espero que disfrutes esta noche conmigo en este gran show. Alright, guys, let's move on to the next poem. You're gonna love this one. You're gonna love this one so much. I'm so looking forward to this next poem, guys. You guys ready? All right. This next one is by John Clare, and this is titled The Instinct of Hope. You guys ready? All right, give me a second. I have to change this, man. 1 second, yeah. All right, I think it's the one. Dang. That's not the one, but I like that one too. I really like that one. All right, hold on just a second, guys. I had a list here and it's super late, but all right. All right. Here we go. Is there another world for this frail dust to warm with life and be itself again? Something about me daily speaks there must. And why should instinct nourish hopes in vain? 'Tis nature's prophecy that such will be. And everything seems struggling to explain the close-sealed volume of its mystery. Time wandering onward keeps its usual pace, as seeming anxious of eternity, to meet that calm and find a resting place. Even the small violet feels a future power and waits each year renewing blooms to bring. Huh. Surely, man is no inferior flower to die unworthy of a second spring. The instinct of hope. Ooh, man. Y'all, look, my goodness, look. This poem right here is such a very harnessed analogy of how you should perceive and receive hope. Again, you have to go to hope, right? Hope is a gift that, once again, it's extracting you from the reality, from our preconditions of this broken world. So you have to learn how to wait, which is what the Latin word for espere, which means hope. You have to wait for it. And don't forget, the ancient Greek word for hope is elpo, which means you welcome it. Once you receive and have this gift shown to you, you have to welcome it. You have to anticipate it. You have to expect it. And when you expect something so precious, do you think you're going to allow it to dwell in a house that is untidy, that is unkept, that has a rotten stench, both in the literal and metaphorical sense? Of course not. You are always going to clean your house. You're going to make it at least pretty presentable, if not spotless, because you know something precious is coming to your house. I mean, think about it. The last person that you considered so important in your life, that you invited over for dinner one day or just to pass the time, did you really think you left your house as is? No, of course not. You went out of your way to make this presentable. And this is how you welcome it. Welkommen, right? Welkommen is two words, by the way. It's a compound word. You are greeting it in its most healthiest and state of being. It's arriving to you, and you are greeting it in your most healthiest state of being. That's what welcome actually means. So I'm going to read this poem one more time, and I want you to pay attention to how John Donne asks these questions for you and me to think about, and especially how you should perceive and receive hope. Because again, the title of this poem is called The Instinct of Hope. And what is that instinct? Listen to this. Is there another world for this frail dust to warm with life and be itself again? Something about me daily speaks there must. And why should instinct nourish hopes in vain? 'Tis nature's prophecy that such will be. And everything seems struggling to explain the close, sealed volume of its mystery. And time, wandering onward, keeps its usual pace, as seeming anxious of eternity, and to meet that calm and find a resting place, even the small violet feels a future power, and waits each year renewing blooms to bring. And surely man is no inferior flower, to die unworthy of a second spring. Even the flowers have an expectation that even though they experience the fall of death and consequences and turmoil and restlessness and weariness, every single one of those flowers experiences and expects and welcomes the pleasantry, the beauty, the righteous, the ever so lovely blooming of hope. And just like John Clare says in this poem, surely man is no inferior flower, to die unworthy of a second spring. You see, he's saying that even though we do experience heartache, hardship, pain and sorrow and loneliness and abandonment and of course death, we have hope. A hope that goes beyond all of those traits, all of those experiences. Because we are not an inferior flower. We are greater than a flower. We are much more important, beautiful, gentle, loving. The instinct of hope. Isn't that fantastic? Can I just encourage all y'all to just sit back, take a pause, take a breath, and learn to dwell. Learn to dwell and be in hope. Yes, of course, it's always going to be so much easier to say that than actually to apply it and do it. But that's the point of being in hope, is that you have to actively be in it. Fill your heart with words of wisdom, words of esperanza, of espere, words of elpo. And if you learn to dwell in hope long enough, you will learn to quiet your heart. And yes, there's probably going to be some episodes where somebody's going to say the wrong thing to you. And you just want to say something so badly back to them, right? You just like, it's on your teeth. Keep a quiet heart. Learn to be disciplined by waiting for hope. To welcome and expect and receive and welcome again and again what hope does for you. Hope wants to extract you from all of those negative attributes, which is why it's so lovely to dwell in it. Come on, I know many of you know or have known someone that is just filled with hope. You just know there's something so amazing about these people, right? Like, and I'm not talking about like a superficial one, right? Like, I'm not talking about somebody that's really nice, okay? There's a difference between somebody that's nice and someone that's actually hopeful. Because a lot of times people who are nice don't actually understand they only understand the surface level, okay? Because a lot of times, and I'm sorry to say this, but they're people pleasers. But that's not actually what a good conduct of a person can be. That's actually what a hopeful person is, right? A hopeful person is actually living in it. And many times they will absolutely tell you the truth, but they'll say it and finish it with hope. So maybe we need to do the same. Learn to dwell in hope, learn to live in it, learn to cherish it, to be provided by it. Receive it, right? Wait for it. What a great poem. Again, John Clare, The Instinct of Hope. We can never have enough of it. So good, y'all. So good. All right. Now, this next one is by John Keats. And he wrote a poem titled To Hope. So he's speaking to hope, right? He's heading towards hope. So he's in the process of hope. And even though this poem is a little bit solitaire, right? So it's a little bit kind of like a little bit lonely, right? Because once again, this is a journey towards hope. I hope you receive it with all of the info that I just provided for you before I read it. I want you to receive it as a hopeful person. Don't try to live in this poet's words right now. But I want you to receive it and perceive it from a person that is filled with hope, or at least someone that is understanding hope better than perhaps even what John Keats is trying to explain. You guys ready? All right, here we go. And when my solitaire hearth I sit, when no fair dreams before my mind's eye flit, and the bare health of life presents no bloom, sweet hope, ethereal balm upon my shed, and wave thy silver pinions over my head. And whenever I wonder at the fall of night, where woven boughs shut out the moon's bright ray, Should sad despondency my musings fright, and frown to drive fair cheerfulness away, and peep the moonbeams through the leafy roof, and keep that fiend despondence far aloof. Should disappointment, parent of despair, strive for her son to seize my careless heart, and when like a cloud he sits upon the air, preparing on his spellbound prey to dart, chase him away. Chase him away, sweet hope. The visage bright, and fright him as the morning frightens night. See, now we have hope being an active proponent of protecting you. That's what's awesome about hope. You willfully choose to dwell in hope. And when you truly dwell in it long enough, you will find that hope naturally wants to defend you, wants to cherish you, wants to keep you, wants to hold you, wants to embrace you, wants to just cuddle and love you. But you need to be disciplined by it. You need to be disciplined by it. It's gonna feel a little unpleasant. But that's because it's ridding you of all of those broken realities from our broken world. Suspend you from it, supersede it. So you must learn the Greek word for hope. Elpo. Welcome it, anticipate it, expect it. And then learn the Latin word for hope, espere, which means to wait. That, my friends, is what hope really means. Not what it means to you, but what you mean to it. That deserves an applause. Oh man, such a great night, isn't it? Thank you. Please, one at a time. It's gonna be all right. Thank you so much. Oh man, it's such a great night. This is the Jay Roldan Speaks podcast. Aren't you happy you're here? See, this is a place of true good news. Right? Wonderful news. I mean, it's not the best. And there's certainly much better news. But yeah. So glad y'all made the trip to listen to this dude, right? Again, if you don't follow me on Spotify, guys, you're missing out. All right, there's some wonderful content on there. I know there's some of you on this live right now that aren't following me on Spotify, so make sure you do. And you know what I'm talking about, so stop hesitating. All right, stop hesitating. Go download Spotify. It's a great platform, y'all. And look for my show, Jay Roldan Speaks. That's it. All right? The rest is up to you. Listen to your heart's content and read the descriptions. All right. Shall we do another? Oh, man. Okay. Let's see. This next one is by Samuel Taylor Coleridge. And he wrote a poem titled Work Without Hope. What does that mean? Let us find out. This was written in 1825. And here he goes. All nature seems at work, and slugs leave their lair, and bees are stirring, and birds are on the wing, and winter slumbering in the open air wears on his smiling face a dream of spring. And I, the while, the sole unbusy thing, nor honey make, nor pair, nor build, nor sing. Yet will I ken the banks where amaranths blow, and have traced the fount whence streams of nectar flow. Bloom, O ye amaranths, bloom from whom ye may. For me, ye bloom not, and glide rich streams away. With lips unbrightened, with breathless brow, I stroll. Would you learn the spells that drowse my soul? Work without hope draws nectar in a sieve. And hope without an object cannot live. Y'all, I'm sorry, but you need to get to this level. Those of you who like writing poetry, okay? Please do us a favor. Spend some quality time choosing your words that are going to impact a person's heart, a person's mind, a person's being. This entire poem comes down to two crucial, so important, foundational lines, and it's the last two of this poem. Samuel Taylor Coleridge finishes this marvelous poem with work without hope draws nectar in a sieve. Do you know what sieve means? I'll tell you. It's a utensil consisting of wire or plastic. Well, it can be really any material. But it has like a mesh form, right? Like you use it for cooking a lot, use it for straining, and even fishermen use it sometimes. You know, you can use it for like catching food, creating food, cooking food, but also like whenever it comes to like finding gold, for example, right? Like sieving through, right? Like I'm sure many of you have seen those shows about like gold rushes and all these things. So basically it's a filtering utensil, okay? That's what a sieve means. But the way that Samuel Coleridge used it in this fantastic poem, right? Work without hope draws nectar in a sieve. Think about that. So right before these lines, he's equating hope as this really just kind of like delicious, natural, nutritious substance to have, right? So he equates it to honey, basically, right? And he talks about the bees, right? All these things. So then he says at the end, work without hope draws nectar in a sieve. And then he says this, and hope without an object cannot live. So in other words, we have to actively be in hope. Again, when is it gonna go through our hearts and our minds, y'all? Okay? The entire clue is in the word hope itself. It's self-sustaining. We don't really need to read these poems to understand hope because it's already there. You just need to understand it. You need to listen to it more. Work without hope draws nectar in a sieve. All that nutrition, all that deliciousness, all that beauty, all that wonderfulness of it, if you don't dwell in it, if you don't work for it, it's just going to get filtered by your heart, by your mind, by your surroundings. You're going to lose its quality. Right? It's kind of like literally if you look. Simple analogy right here. Simple analogy. Listen to this. It's like this. Whenever you look at raw honey, okay? Raw honey, it is always darker. It is always less transparent. And then all the companies that actually filter honey is going to make the honey a lot more clear. It's going to look a little more pretty on the outside, but nutrition-wise, it's not going to have hardly any of the nutrition that it originally had. So, raw honey has its own and important self-sustaining ingredients in it already. And it's only when it's filtered by the outside world that when it's manufactured, when it's processed, then it becomes a lot more clear. But it doesn't mean that it's healthy for you. It's less healthy for you. Work without hope draws nectar in a sieve. And hope without an object cannot live. So you need to strive for an objective. Okay? That's when Samuel Taylor Coleridge, when he's talking about object, he's not talking about an actual thing. Right? He's talking about a goal. What's your object? What's your focus? What's your goal? Where you're heading towards? Do you understand? You need to strive to be in hope. You need to work for it. And you need to have a focus of dwelling in hope. You want hope to protect you? You want hope to give you its nutritional value? You want hope to give you its true, raw nature. So strive for it. Work for it. Wait for it. Welcome it. Anticipate it. Expect it. Elpo espere. What more do you want? This is the J. Roland Speaks podcast, guys. I hope you're having a wonderful time in this show. This is what we do. And yes, I'm going to give myself applause again because none of y'all do it. I'm just kidding, y'all. Come on. It's all fun and games. I'm just really wanting an excuse to play with these custom buttons, honestly. Although I will say this, we definitely leveled up on this show. You want to know why I know this? Because we got some donators, that's right. Oh man. Oh, and we leveled up. Can you believe that? Yes, we did. All right. What else do we got? All right. Yeah. Let's move on. Oh man. Look, y'all, I just want to be clear about something. It's not like it's not like my life isn't filled with turmoil. There are definitely things in my life currently, actually, that should make me a lot more anxious, a lot more kind of bitter and just like irritated. But no, honestly, like, I know what that felt like when I was a person that dwelled in those things. And it wasn't until years later, especially in my recent years, that I learned to dwell in hope. And I'm telling you, like, I can't give details, but I have a full, legitimate, justifiable reason to be so irritable and just very, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't even know what that word means anymore, actually. The word for like you just want to get back at somebody, you know what I mean? Like because they said something really nasty to you, What's the word I'm looking for, right? Like whatever that word is, like I have instinctually, I feel like I have total justifiable cause to like respond in a negative way to that person, Yeah, maybe revenge. I don't know. Vindictive. I think that's a great word. Yeah, that's a great word. So, but no. See, because I know what it does to me. And I know what type of man I used to be when I was like that, when I was vindictive. And honestly, I sleep so much better now, knowing that I dwell in hope. Again, I just wanted to be clear. It's not like I don't experience these things. All of the heartache and hardships and all of the other things that you and I experience on a daily basis or a weekly basis. But the difference is what's your object, right? What's your objective? What's your goal? My goal is not to dwell in those places anymore, because it made me ill. It made me lose sleep. It made me very critical. It made me just very lonely, isolated, sad, suspicious, and just so many other things that I almost can't believe I was like that, So instead, I dwell in hope, and hope has taught me to speak with eloquence, speak with patience, speak with true understanding. And you can also speak with justice, by the way. You can also speak with justice, but you do it in a way that is in a patient manner, right? In a way that is not vindictive. Because I think I don't want to get sidetracked here, but I think that's the problem with how people without true hope in their lives deal with justice. It's a vindictive cause, right? It's like, no, look, they did this to my family, or they did this to me, therefore they deserve a negative consequence on them, right? They deserve it, right? Like, that's how we think. But that's how we think with people that are not filled with hope, because you don't wait for hope. You don't welcome it in its most natural, raw state. You filter it. You justify it and you apply it how you want it to be applied in you, which is why, again, I asked at the beginning of this podcast not to define hope and what it means to you, but to actually define hope on what you mean to it. It's a reversal of perspectives here. And that is how you dwell at the beginning stages of hope. So nice. All right, guys, we are down to our last few poems of tonight. Thank you so much for bearing with me for a little bit, and I hope you guys are having a wonderful time. We are about to do some very, very important poems tonight. Not that the other ones weren't, but now I really want you to pay attention to these poems. All right. Again, a quick little shout out to all of my wonderful donators and subscribers. Thank you so much, so dearly for your wonderful contributions. And if you are one of those people that have been following this show and, just been on the fence about it, take your time. It's really, really fine. But just be assured that all the content on these lives and podcasts are wholesome and they have true intentions of sharing good messages and edifying people's hearts, as well as strengthening your mind as well, right? And the other way as well. But you know what? I'm thinking about doing this, guys. I'm gonna edit this part out. I was thinking about doing a some type of like hoodie or like some type of shirt with. I'm really liking this saying that I think about, that I say frequently on this show, and it's like, really, if you think about it, like it's such a simple statement, but also like it makes so much sense, right? Like if kids can't listen to whatever content you don't want them to listen to, then why are you? Really? Why are you? Right? Like we spend so much time like saying, oh, you can't do this and can't do that. Why are you? And I use that slogan because that reminds me to produce content on this platform that children can listen to. They may not understand it, but you don't have to worry about what they're listening to. Right? This is stories and information and messages that really like has the intention of reminding us of why we need themes of hope, why we need to talk about hope, why we need to really study it in its most essential forms, in its ideal forms. Again, Plato. Lord knows we have so many ideologies and philosophers out there, and writers and speakers and whatever, storytellers and producers that are twisting a lot of these messages because they don't know how to dwell in it. They don't know how to dwell in hope. So they rather just apply it the way they want to apply it in their lives, because we are selfish creatures. See, this is part of the discipline of hope, is that you have to become selfless. You have to put away whatever it is that you're bringing in, because that's not how dwell works. That's not how hope works. That's not how you dwell in hope. When you are invited into a special guest, a special friend's house, right? When that friend invites you to their house, you're going to fix yourself up. You're going to wear some good clothing, whatever that is. And most of the time, when you enter that front door, sometimes, if not most of the time, you'll see shoes being taken off because they don't want you to drag all of the filth that you were dragging from the outside world into their home. And so it's an honorable gesture, it's an honorable act, which is why we need to have that same mentality for when we dwell in hope. You can't bring your dirty feet. You can't bring your dirty thoughts. You can't bring your dirty, twisted messages. You can't bring your dirty self into hope. Hope wants to protect you, wants to love you, wants to nourish you, but it won't do it with your dirtiness. Because you don't want to be protected by it. You don't want to wait for it. You don't want to welcome it. You don't want to expect it. This is why I do these podcasts, y'all. Here's a poem by Emily Bronte titled Hope. Are you ready? Here we go. And hope was but a timid friend. She sat without the grated den, watching how my fate would tend. Even as selfish-hearted men. She was cruel in her fear. And through the bars one dreary day, I looked out to see her there, and she turned her face away. And like a false guard, false watch-keeping, still in strife, she whispered peace, and she would sing while I was weeping. And if I listened, she would cease. False she was, and unrelenting. When my last joy strewed the ground, even sorrow saw repenting those sad relics scattered round. Hope, whose whisper would have given balm to all my frenzied pain, stretch her wings and soar to heaven, went and never returned again. You see, in this poem by Emily Bronte, this is what I was telling you, this is what I was trying to explain to you guys about why it's important for you to wait for hope. Wait for hope, because the Latin root word again, espere, right? Esperanza is to wait. And then the Greek word elpo means to welcome and expect. This is how hope is experienced. You cannot force hope to come to you. You cannot twist it. You cannot appropriate it. You must conform to it. You must dwell in it. Because if you don't, hope will leave you. It will flutter away, just like Emily Bronte expressed here. Stretch her wings and soar to heaven, right? Hope is a heavenly attribute because it suspends and extracts and supersedes the preconditions of this world, which is why it's a celestial attribute. Hope is a beautiful celestial attribute. It's an angelic attribute. It's a godly attribute. Something beyond our characteristics, beyond our dwelling place in this preconditioned world of brokenness. That is why you need to learn how to dwell in hope. My goodness. And I'm sorry to say this, guys, and it's not a reassuring statement, but if you take too long to dwell in hope, it will leave you. Because you decided not to dwell in it. So naturally it won't wait for you anymore. Because again, you have to learn how to wait for it. And when it arrives, you have to make the decision of whether or not you want to dwell in it. And if you take too long, if you're too overcome by the attributes of your conditions, current conditions, you may not want to leave those because you like it too much. You don't want to let go. But that's the prerequisite of dwelling in hope. You must let go. All right, y'all. I wish I could carry out for hours and hours talking about hope. And I will bring this topic back, by the way, because we can never get enough of it, you know? So, I'm gonna end this live with a couple of passages that taught me how to dwell in hope. And, well, changed my life. And I hope it does for you too. All right. Here we go with several passages from Scripture. This is Romans 12, verse 12. It says, "Rejoice in hope. Be patient in tribulation, and be constant in prayer." It's a simple little passage. But if you really want to dwell in hope, then rejoice in it. And when you rejoice in it, you learn to wait and be patient when you are going through hardships, challenges, moments that you just want to I gotta say something back to that person that said this nasty thing to me. Be patient. Learn to endure. Because hope is enduring you. You gotta get rid of all that filth. Take off your dirty shoes before you enter a royal palace. And be constant in prayer. That's your goal. That's your focus, just like Samuel Coleridge said. What's your objective? Hope without an object will not live. Again, from the book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 24 through 35. "For in this hope we were saved. Now hope that is seen is not hope. For who hopes for what he sees? But if we hope for what we do not see, we wait for it with patience." Again, hope is a superseding of the realities based on our earth's conditions, on our world's conditions. You cannot bring those brokenness into hope again, because hope is a celestial attribute. And as I illustrated before, you will never enter a royal palace with your dirty feet, dirty clothes, and stench. You must be clean. Because I guarantee you, you will never invite someone into your house, especially of importance, if your house was dirty. So you must do the same when you enter somebody else's house that is of royal value, that is of preciousness. And that's what hope is. It's a precious gift. It's asking you to wait for it, to learn from it, to be disciplined by it, to be protected by it, to be loved by it. And so you must welcome it. You must expect those things. And that's what the Greek word for hope is. Elpo. A suspension of the things from this broken world. First Peter chapter 1 verse 3. Blessed be the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, and according to his great mercy, he has caused us to be born again to a living hope through the resurrection of Christ Jesus from the dead. Living hope. Living hope. Living hope. You remember the first poem that we read tonight? Be hopeful. Now you are living hope. Live. Arise. A resurrected. Live is a French word for rising, which is where we get the word in English to live. No matter what your situation is, no matter what is going on, there is hope. And hope wants to discipline you, wants to hold you, wants to teach you, wants to protect you, wants to love you, but you must be willing to be disciplined by it. You cannot demand it. You cannot appropriate it. You must rid of your filth and all the garbage that you've accumulated throughout your years and learn to dwell and live in living hope. Thank you, Padre Celestial, for giving us a true definition of hope, showing us the way to live a life that is living in hope, to pursue the living hope, so that our days will be met with gratitude, humility, compassion, hope and faith, and love. En el nombre del Señor. Amen. All right, buddy. Hope you had a wonderful time to this Jade Roldan Speaks podcast. Again, if you don't follow me on Spotify, make sure you do, guys. Okay? And we'll see you again sometime. I will be a little busy tomorrow and the day after, but I hope that you guys have a wonderful next few days, and you can always enjoy the content on Spotify. All right, guys, have a wonderful day. If I don't see you again, this has been a true privilege to talk about wonderful messages, share some interesting stories, and read some really powerful poems tonight. Take care.